This class is the high school resume class. It's your time to shine, brag, boast, show off, grandstand, hot dog, flaunt, showboat, blow your own horn, pat yourself on the back, all of those things. It's not time to be modest, humble, or quiet. First, the why. Why do you need a high school resume? Admissions at highly selective colleges is extremely competitive. Let's look at some numbers. At Harvard, this last year, 3% admitted. Stanford, also 3%. Columbia, 4%. Princeton, 5%. So it's a challenge to get into some of these colleges. Before you get all freaked out, there are only 26 colleges that have an admission ratio of 10% or less. 50 colleges have a 10 to 25% admission ratio. 250 have a 25 to 50%. And 1,151 colleges have a 50 to 90% admission ratio. So if you keep going the way that you're going with your grades and your test scores, and you apply to some of the colleges that are 50% admission ratio or above, not only will you get admitted to those colleges, but you'll also get some good scholarships. If I haven't helped you create a list of colleges yet, please do reach out to me, and I'll be happy to help you out with that. A college becomes selective and highly selective for the simple fact that more students apply than there are freshman seats. And they do a really great job at marketing. Because a college rejects more students than they admit, this makes them selective. So because a college rejects a bunch of students doesn't make it a better school. It's just they've just done a better job at marketing themselves. Okay, have you ever tried to go to a store or go online and buy a product but found out that that product was sold out? Well, yeah, they did a great job at marketing that product. Colleges are doing the same thing at marketing their school. But think about this for just a second. Just because a college rejects a bunch of students, that doesn't make them a better school. Is it kind of ridiculous that a college is ranked higher for the simple fact that they reject more students than another college? That's one of the categories that's ranked. So to be number one, we'll create our own college, and we'll create our own college, and we'll do a marketing campaign, and we'll reject all of those students. So because we've rejected 100% of the students, we are the most selective. So we're number one. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous and silly, isn't it? So yes, apply to the highly selective colleges, but don't have just those schools on your list. Have a good mix of colleges. So if you have the grades and the test scores, then yes, apply to some of the highly selective schools, but also apply to a handful of colleges that you have a higher probability of being admitted based on your grades and your test scores. On to the why. Why create a high school resume? So your high school resume, or the activity section, the things that you've done throughout high school, we want to give the college enough information about you so that college admission department knows and understands who you are. We want to paint an accurate picture of who you are. Your grades and test scores are important. However, your extracurriculars and your essay will make you stand out. More importantly, how and the words that you use make you stand out. So details are important. Most students are minimalists. They give the college as little information. Here's me, make a decision. They give the college the minimum amount of information and expect that that's enough. Colleges have mailed out tons of information to you, brochures, flyers, view books, postcards, emails, all that stuff. They've sent you a lot of information. Now we want to reverse it, and we want to do the same. We want to give the college a ton of information about you. So when you're interested in something, do you look up as much as you can on that subject? I know I do. Colleges don't have the luxury to look up everything on you, so you've got to tell them about it. They do look up some things, but they don't look up everything. So whenever I'm going to make a major purchase, and college is definitely a major purchase, I put in a lot of time researching and investigating it so that I'm informed and know exactly what I want with the products that are being offered. So you should do the same on two fronts. One is investigate the colleges, review the website, read the brochures, visit the college. And two, colleges want to know who you are, so give them a ton of information about you. So if you're looking at the latest electronic gadget, do you look up reviews, information on YouTube, the internet, and elsewhere? Why? So you can be informed and get to and know exactly what you are getting. So we want to be informed about the colleges that we're applying to, but we also want the college to know who we are, so we want to give them a ton of information about us. First reason to have a high school resume is it will help you and provide a reference to help you fill out the activities section on the college application. Having a high school resume will make it easier to fill out that section of the college application. We're going to look at the Common App in just a little bit. But on the Common App, and that's the website, commonapp.org, there's a section in there that asks about your resume. The second purpose of a high school resume is the resume will be a reference and a starting point for your teacher and your counselors to use to help write your recommendation letters. So give a copy of your resume to your teacher and your counselor. This will make it easier for them to write a great recommendation letter for you. If they don't know anything about you, how can they write a great recommendation letter? Let them know about you by giving them a copy of your resume. Yeah, let them know about giving you a copy of your resume. So if you haven't done it yet, now is the time to approach your teacher and ask this question. Hey, I'm going to be applying to colleges in the fall. Can you write me a great recommendation letter? And that's the exact word I would use, great recommendation letter. If they agree to that, awesome, thank you very much. And at that point, you can hand them a copy of your resume and, hey, have a nice summer. And then in the fall, when you return to high school, you can approach your teacher and let them know that you've applied to different colleges. The third reason to have a high school resume, the online applications have a limited amount of space in the dialog windows. So if you need to elaborate, and you should, then you can follow up and send in a copy of your resume to your recruiter contacts. So Common App, there are currently over 1,000 colleges that use Common App. You'll create an account on there, and then you'll click on the colleges that you want your application to be sent to. In the activities section, there's 10 spots for 10 activities. And there's 10 spots for 10 activities. And each activity has a dialog box, and that dialog box allows you to put in 140 or 150 characters, which is about 2 sentences. 2 sentences isn't really enough to give details of all the things that you did within that one activity, within that one interest, within that one hobby. So on your resume, you can elaborate with a lot more information. And the process is immediately after you submit your application, you send an email to your recruiter contact at the college you just applied to, and your email will say something like this: hey, I'm super excited. I just applied to your college. I can't wait to be a student there. Attached is my resume. Okay. And you want to attach your resume because you have a lot more liberty with giving a more detailed explanation. Plus, if you have more than 10 activities, you can put all of your activities. So if you have 15 or 17 activities, you can put all 17 activities in your resume and put your top 10 on the online application. The fourth reason to have a high school resume is in case you're in an interview. So bring a couple copies of your resume to a college interview, and some colleges will interview. If the college interviews, let me know beforehand and we'll schedule a time to talk about some interview techniques. And one of those techniques is to bring at least 2 copies of your resume. 1 copy to give to the interviewer and 1 copy to keep for yourself. The reason why is because sometimes when I'm in a stressful situation, I forget things and my mind goes blank. So you can use your resume as a memory booster as well as for some talking points. It's okay to be nervous, just don't let that stop you. So if they ask you, what's your name? You can glance down at your resume and go, oh yeah, my name is J.D. Wyzolak. Okay. Good versus bad. A good resume will describe and paint an accurate picture of who you are. You are more than a student who goes to school, does homework, and hand it on time. Please hand in your homework on time. More than being involved in a club or two, more than an athlete, a mathlete, or a band lead. So think about all the things that you do and put them all down on paper. Review them and then decide if you're going to include them in your resume and in your application. So if you ask me, JD, should this be on my resume? The answer right now is yes. We'll have a conversation later on and we'll say, no, take that off, or, oh yeah, let's keep that on there, or, oh yes, let's showcase that part. So sometimes students think that an activity they're involved with was not important or may not be overly impressive, when in reality, it might be the very one thing that should be included. Colleges want to see students that have a passion for something and demonstrate that passion in the activities that they are listed in on the application and in the resume. So I had a conversation with Ian. I was talking with a student who told me all the impressive things about him. His grades were awesome. He got these amazing test scores, and how he volunteered and helped out new freshmen and became an upper class mentor to these students. And he was telling me all these things. And after probing for a bit, I found out that he liked paintball. And as soon as I asked him a couple questions about paintball, his whole manner changed. He got kind of excited, and he told me how he competed and how he browsed the internet for different springs and trigger mechanisms to build a better paintball marker. This was his passion. He could talk about this and how he researched the sport and would like to study engineering and work for a company that engineers paintball markers or something like that. At first, he told me everything that he thought was impressive and would impress a college. In reality, his passion, properly described and outlined in the application and in the resume, would be more impressive to the college, because readers can tell if a student really has a passion about something or if the student's just trying to impress the college. So in a nutshell, be yourself. And yes, Ian did go study engineering in college. Another student didn't think that his business activities were overly impressive. He did some research, implemented a strategy, developed a product, and he thought it wasn't impressive enough because he didn't make $1 million or have 100 employees. However, this interest can be showcased to show his passion about being an entrepreneur and wanting to potentially study business or international business in college. So what are your secret hobbies, your interests? You can explore and develop a passion in the how to promote yourself and market yourself class. So don't eliminate something because you think it might not be impressive to a college. It might just be the one thing that we want to showcase in your application, in your essay, and in your resume. And yes, Kelly went off to study business in college. The biggest pitfall of resume writing and college applications is merely to state your past responsibilities, activities, and job history. You don't want the college recruiter to work at determining what you have to offer them and what you have accomplished. You need to use your influence and sell yourself. Sell your accomplishments, sell your work experience. Make it easy for the college to want to recruit you. The college won't know if you're eligible for a leadership scholarship if they don't know all the things that you've done. Most colleges are looking for reasons to admit you. So the Common App, and I'm going to stop sharing for just a second and open up the Common App and share that one just to kind of give you an example of the Common App. Share that. So this is the Common App website, commonapp.org. And in this box, you can type the name of a college. I'm just going to type in Arizona just because. And we've got 4 colleges in Arizona that utilize the Common App. I don't know why Park University in Parkville, Missouri, maybe they've got a satellite campus here. So ASU, Prescott College, and U of A all utilize the Common App. If we look at California, we've got 45 colleges in California that utilize the Common App. So again, you can create one account and then just click on the colleges that you want your application to be sent to. It's really a fantastic resource and actually an easy resource to submit your application to multiple colleges. So Common App is a single website. You can apply to multiple colleges. Yeah, I said all that. Okay. On the Common App, in the activities section, is a drop-down menu heading, and these are the different headings that are in there. And you want to ask yourself this question. Look at each one of these headings and then ask yourself, do I have an activity or hobby or interest or job that fits any of these categories? Okay. For those of you who are watching the replay of this, there'll be a link to to a list of these different drop-down menu headings. For those of you that are watching it live, I'll send out an email with all this information. So we want to make a positive impression on the application reader. So which one is more impressive? So when a college application reader is reviewing student applications, we don't know if our application and essay will be the first application they read that day or the 50th one that day. So we want to make a positive impression regardless of if we're number 1 or number 25 or 50 or somewhere in between. So college admission readers at most colleges really do want to admit you. So we want to give them, the college, a compelling reason to admit you. So we want to be impressive with our essay, and we want to be impressive with our resume. We don't want to be that student that puts them to sleep. So let's look at some examples. I was helping Connor with his resume, and he wrote clerk, C-L-E-R-K, 5 letters, and that's it. I'm like, Connor, can you give me some more information about that? So clerk is not very descriptive. Do we know exactly what a clerk does? We can guess. We don't want the application reader to guess what Connor does as a clerk. We want to tell them exactly what it is that he did or does. We want to spell it out for them literally. So Connor rewrote it, and this is what he wrote. I am employed at Walgreens. My duties include greeting customers, balancing the cash register, reviewing inventory, stocking shelves with products. I'm also responsible for closing out the store and locking up 2 nights a week. This one is much more impressive because the student shows that he has a greater responsibility, and it is written, it's spelled out in detail. Because he put in there, I'm responsible for closing out the store, the college looked at that and said, wow, that's leadership. Another word for responsibility is leadership, or for responsible is leadership. And when that college looked at that, they said, Connor qualifies for a leadership scholarship. And he ended up getting that leadership scholarship. Had he not spelled all that out, he would not have gotten that leadership scholarship. So when you are given responsibility, you are put in a leadership role. Ellie wrote this in her resume: clog, Irish dance, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, 5 hours a week. We can kind of guess what someone does in clogging and Irish dance. It's kind of like tap dancing and that, but we don't want them to guess what we did. We want to tell them, literally tell them exactly what she did. So when Ellie wrote it out in detail, she found out that she had actually 4 different duties within one activity. She used 4 different lines on the activity section in the Common App. So activity number 1 was, I'm a dance instructor with the Maricopa 4-H Cloggers. I have taught dance to other students who range from beginning to advanced. That was one category, one activity in her resume. A second activity was number 2. I have choreographed parades, routines, duets, and solos. So that was a second activity on her resume and in her application Common App section. The third one was, she wrote, I was nominated Clogger of the Month. I received first place in a national competition, first in show, second in duet category, second place overall at a regional competition. And number 4, the fourth activity was, she was elected president of the Maricopa 4-H Cloggers 2 years in a row and 1 year as vice president. And on her resume, she actually went into more detail with what her duties were as president of the Maricopa 4-H Cloggers. You want to know something funny? The second year that she was elected president, nobody else ran. On the college application, it asks you, what's the name of the activity that you're involved with? Maricopa 4-H Cloggers. The next question it asks is, what is your title? President. And then the next category is, what's the description? So she went into some details of what she did as president. Nowhere on the application does it say, did you beat out 30 other kids to become president? Okay. So this student actually broke this down into separate categories. One section was the leadership that she did with the club. Another entry was the competitions. Another was being an instructor. All different roles over a period of time within the same club and activity. So if you have a unique activity, you may want to explain what it is that you do and can provide and potentially provide a video showcasing your activity. So because clogging is not super popular or super well known, she went into some detail of what exactly is a clogger. And in her resume, she has some links that the college could click on to watch a video of her doing her clog dancing. When I was reviewing Kay's application and her resume, she wrote, athletic varsity soccer, 9, 10, 11th, 12th grade, 15 hours per week. That's not very detailed. When I asked her to give me some more information, we actually found out that that one activity, one interest, had 5 subcategories. And those categories were broken in, as you can see on the screen here. The first category was soccer, midfield, varsity letter, 3 years. The second one was club soccer, state finalist. The third one is championship high school soccer team, undefeated. The fourth one was she was a soccer referee, and she ref some of the younger kids' games. And number 5, she volunteered and taught younger kids soccer. Now, on her resume, she went into a lot more detail of what it was that she did as a soccer referee. She went into a lot more detail with what she did with volunteering and teaching the younger kids soccer. Taught them some different drills, explained the rules of the sport, etc., etc. Don't reiterate what they already know. Too many times students provide a description of the club instead of what they did and what their role was within that club and how they provided a positive impact in the activity, and how they provided a positive impact to other members of the group. So I'll see this one often. A student will put in the activities or in their resume, National Honor Society. National Honor Society is a nationwide academic organization for high school students. I qualified because of my strong grades. Every college knows that in order to be involved in NHS, you have to have a minimum GPA. We already know that. Instead, tell the reader what you did in that organization, what you did in that club, and what you did in that activity. So as a member of NHS, I did this. Don't copy and paste from an online catalog or from Wikipedia. College applications and essay readers know if something is copied or plagiarized. They have read thousands of college applications, and there are always enterprising students that go online and look up essays that got me into Harvard, resumes that got me into Harvard, and they will steal those. And guaranteed, those colleges already have read those essays and have already reviewed those resumes. Do use the thesaurus to describe different activities, but don't over thesaurisize, if that's a word. Don't over thesaurisize your overall application and resume. The application, resume, and essay should be in your words. It should sound like the vernacular that you use, not the vernacular that was used in the 19th century. Now, if you talk in Old English with the these and the thous, then of course use that in your essay. But if you don't talk like that normally, then don't write like that. So write out your resume, use the thesaurus, and then ask your parents and maybe a friend or two to read it and ask if it sounds like it's in your words. Use your thesaurus, but also use some attention-grabbing words. So here's some attention-grabbing words: accelerated, accomplished, achieved, activated, innovated, inspected, inspired, searched, secured, selected. There's a lot more attention-grabbing words in the description box on here if you're watching the recording. And for those of you that are watching live streaming, I will email you the attention-grabbing words. So use some attention-grabbing words. Which word is better? Ask or inquire? Which word invokes more emotion? Which one invokes more power, drama, strength, and depth? Inquire, of course. Which word is better? Big or immense? Which word invokes emotion? Which one invokes more power, drama, strength, and depth? Immense, of course. Which word is better? New or fresh? Which word invokes emotion? Which one invokes more power, drama, strength, and depth? Use words that you would normally use. Don't use words that you wouldn't normally use, and don't over thesauricize your resume and your application essay. But do use it. So if you're writing something out and you notice that you've used the same word 4 or 5 times, then go on to the can't say the word, thesaurus.com, and type in your word and see what other words might be similar, which might invoke more emotion, power, drama, strength, or depth. Start now by creating your resume. It will make it so much easier for you when it's time for you to fill out the application. And ask your teachers and counselors to write your recommendation letter for you. So if you have your resume, you can and start that now. You can give that to your teachers and counselors to write your rec letter. So do it now so that you have this completed when applications go live in August. Applications are going to go live August 1st. And ideally, we submit all of our applications sometime in August or early September. So do it now and have this completed so that when applications go live, then all you have to do is copy and paste in the application and get your application submitted well before the earliest deadline. So start thinking about who you want to write your recommendation letter. So again, ask and approach your teacher, and the teacher that you should approach should be a core teacher. So that's going to be English, math, science, history, social studies, or foreign language. If you're going to be a theater major, then you can ask your theater major and a core teacher. Or if you're going to be an art major, you can ask your art teacher and a core teacher. And I would encourage you to have at least 2 or 3 teachers that are going to write your recommendation letters. And you would approach your teacher and say something like, "Hey, Mrs. Smith, I really enjoyed your biology class this year. I'm going to be applying to colleges in the fall. Can you write me a great recommendation letter?" And if she says yes, then hand her a copy of your resume. So you can use one of the templates. I emailed out templates. There's also, if you're watching the recording of this, there's some links in the description box of some sample templates. And then for those of you that are watching the live stream, I did email that out. I'll email it out again with some templates. When you're writing out your resume, don't use vague words. Vague words are many, numerous, a lot. Those are vague. I don't know what many means. Does many mean 2 or 200? Numerous. Is that 10 or 10,000? A lot. 3 or 30? Again, those are vague words. I don't know. So a weak example is I volunteered many hours at various community charities. This is very vague. How many hours? Various community charities. What does various mean? Instead, be very specific. So a strong example is I volunteered 7 hours per week at St. Peter's Soup Kitchen. I greeted patrons as they came in and helped serve meals. This is specific and gives enough detail so that someone can see a word picture in their mind. So create that word picture. I was recently reading a book. I don't remember the name of the book, but it was very recent, within the last month or so. And they were talking about how we learned language. If we would go back to the early days of language, and you look at the cave drawings, or you look at the Egyptian hieroglyphics, they're pictures. So the pictures evolved into letters, which evolved into sounds, which evolved into words. So we think in pictures, and we translate those pictures in our mind to words. So we want to create word pictures because word pictures are memorable. Spelling, spelling does matter. So does punctuation and grammar. Okay. So double check your essays, double check your resume, double check, triple check spelling, punctuation, grammar before you lick the stamp or before you submit it or send it off, or even before you give it to your teacher or counselor. Double check your spelling on that stuff. So start your applications now. If you spend 15 or 30 minutes a day for the next week or two, you'll have it ready. Then you can use your resume as a reference point to fill out the activity section of the college application. And you could potentially use your resume as reference to help you with your essay, and also use it as reference when you go into any type of interview. Small details make a big difference. So add specific details to your resume. Small details do make a big difference. Too many times applications and resume readers will read the description of an activity and not know the small, fine detail that can make a yes admitted decision. At colleges, there's what's called an enrollment director. And the enrollment director's job is to look at the current class and the new incoming class and to make sure that that class is balanced and not missing something. As an example, a student might write in her resume that she was in honors choir. Okay. However, if the enrollment director is looking for another soprano and the only thing that he sees in the resume is honors choir, this student wouldn't get picked out of the pile because that detail was missing. So we want to put in those little details. I was talking with a student earlier today who said he was in marching band. Awesome. What instrument do you play? Be specific about that. So another example is a student will put in that he's in marching band, but failed to include which instrument he plays. Add that detail and possibly consider playing an unusual instrument could make you stand out. The highly selective colleges are looking for a specific person. By adding these small details, you could be picked out of the pool. So here's an example of what is on the Common App. At the top, it says the activity type. You'll click on the drop down and you'll specify the activity title. The next question is, what position do you have? Do you have a leadership position? I'm president, treasurer, or a member. And then the organization name. You'll notice next to organizational name, there's not a red asterisk, so that's not required. But if there is a name, you can add that in there. And then the next one is, please describe this activity, include what you accomplished and any recognitions you received, etc. Max character, 150 characters. So that 150 characters, again, as I mentioned earlier, is about 2 sentences. That's not enough to give a really strong detail of what you did in that activity. So you want to copy and paste the 150 characters from your resume in here, but you want to go into more detail in your resume. Okay. Then it asks, what grade levels did you participate in that activity? I participated in 9th, 10th, 11th grade. If you're going to continue that activity in 12th grade, you'll put a check mark in that box. So this is what the Common App activity section looks like. So to recap, start writing or type out all of your activities. Include all activities, all clubs, all accolades and honors, all hobbies and interests, etc. Write detailed, impressive descriptions of what you did. Don't tell me what the club is, but tell me what you did within that activity. And then ask your junior teacher if they can write a great recommendation letter for you. And then give your resume to your teacher and your counselor to use as reference. So ask yourself, what did I do in the fall of my freshman year? And write all those things down. What did I do in the spring of my freshman year? Write all those things down. What did I do in my freshman, sophomore summer? Write those things down. What did I do my sophomore year, my sophomore summer? What did I do my junior year? What am I doing now? Add all of these things to your resume. Here's a couple examples. I was talking with some students and they were reluctant to add these things on their resume. But after talking with them a little bit more, they did decide to add them to their resume. One student, when I asked him a couple questions, I found out that because of where he lives, his house wasn't too far from a trailhead, and he likes to go mountain biking. And he'll go mountain biking 2 or 3 times a week, and he does it because it's fun, and he loves the aerobic workout of it. He's not part of any club or any team or anything like that. Again, he just does it for fun and for the workout. Put that on your resume. Other students will go to the gym on a regular basis, even though you're not in a club or anything like that, but that's something that you do. Put that on your resume. If you have family responsibilities, add those in your resume. An example of family responsibility is I was talking with another student, and she told me that she was required to make a family meal once a week. And her job was to find a recipe and then procure the appropriate ingredients and prepare the meal. And she did that every week. That is a family responsibility. So if you go to the gym, or you like mountain biking, or you just like listening to music or whatever, put all of those things down on your resume. Again, we'll have a conversation later on, and we'll determine, do we want to keep this on your resume, or do we want to showcase it, or what? So in conclusion, send me your resume for review. I'll take a look at it. We'll review it and give you some feedback on that. We'll also work on the resume in the application and essay class. And please remember to tell your friends about azcollegeplanning.com. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to stop the recording.